Hi there, my name's Aaron Short and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today I'm talking about the Electro Voice Evolve 30M column PA speaker, which I just happen to have right here. I recently made a video about the ultimate portable PA system for solo acoustic musicians, and I'll link that at the end of this video. But what about larger gigs? I'm often hearing online and from local musicians about the Evolve 30M, and I really wanted to check it out. So Sweetwater kindly agreed to send one over for a video, and I've had a chance to gig with this, and I really am impressed. Thank you to Sweetwater, and I'll put their link below in the description so you can find out the full specs of the system and also purchase one. And as always, it's an affiliate link, so if you do use that, it'll help me out at no extra cost to you. So thank you in advance. But this is a 1000-watt PA system, and it can reach 123 decibels. And more importantly to me, it has 120-degree horizontal dispersion. So the sound spreads out wide. With some PA type speakers that I do like to use, but some of them have a very narrow, what we call dispersion. And that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes you want the sound to be narrow, but when I take one speaker to a solo acoustic gig, I like the sound to be spread out as much as possible, and that's why these column kind of systems are so good. It weighs 44 pounds total, so I still consider that portable. The subwoofer has a decent size to it. Obviously, we want to have size to it because we're going to put bass through it and things like that. It's still fairly easy to carry. The subwoofer is 10 inches. We want a good size subwoofer to get those bass frequencies, but 10 inches is a nice compromise. I still think it's fairly easy to carry. What I will note is that the top pieces come apart and there's a bag provided for them, but the subwoofer does not have a cover. So you do have to purchase that separately, and I'd recommend that you do in order to protect the subwoofer from any damage when you're transporting it around. I noticed when I took it to my gigs, it was a little bit bulky, but the thing to remember is that you don't need to take PA stands, and you don't really need to take an external mixer either. So you are saving quite a lot of gear that you don't need to take. That helps towards the cost of the unit, the setup time, and also the amount of stuff you have to carry in and out of the gig. So I think it's totally worth it to carry this in and then just put it together, plug in your mic and your guitar, and basically go. All of the controls can be done from the unit or from your iPhone, iPad, or Android device. And I really like that. It works really well, and it just keeps everything very slick and streamlined. I want to mention as well that this is the 30M. There is also a 50M and a 70 and a 90. So if you need more power or you want these for a band or something, I mean, I really think the 30M is great for a solo acoustic act. And if you actually have the eVerse 8, you could use that as a monitor as well if you need to. I don't think you'll need to, but that's a nice extension speaker as well. But if you want these for a band, you could buy two 30Ms, you could buy two 50Ms. This all comes down to how big are your gigs, how noisy are the audience. But I think for a function band, two of the 50Ms would be really nice. I think for my band, which is usually a 3 or 4 piece, two of the 50Ms would be amazing. And then if you want a permanent installation, two of the larger systems like the 70 or the 90 would be absolutely incredible. I'd love to try them out sometime. My personal favorite thing about all this eVerse gear is that it uses the same app. So the app that I showed you in the video for the eVerse 8 is the same app that you use with this Evolve 30 system. So once you've learned the app for one system, you just use the same app for the other system. And also you can control both systems at the same time if they're both connected on the same gig, which is really, really handy. I know some people don't like apps, but you can still control it from the system itself. And just so you know, the app is very user-friendly. It's very clear. It may not be as involved as some apps that I've seen, but it's just super simple. I really, really like it. And I think it's a really good compromise between easy to use and advanced. I think it's a great app. So for today's demo, I'm going to show you some footage from a gig. This was a great test for me because it's a regular gig I play in the summer. It's outside, and unfortunately it was raining, so they put me up high. It wasn't the ideal test conditions at all because I was very high off the ground in a balcony facing out to the audience. But the thing that really impressed me is I could hear myself, the audience could hear, and it wasn't crazy loud. I think at one point I did push the system to its maximum, but when you think that the speaker wasn't even aimed at the guests, it was basically throwing the sound over their head, I think it's really impressive. And I'd have no problem taking this to any of my outdoor gigs or larger indoor gigs. I really think that one of these will be absolutely fine. I wasn't even sure exactly how to gain stage it. I've seen people talk up online about the best way to set up the gains on this system, and it seems to be pretty logical. there's no gain like there is on a traditional mixer with a trim pot. So what you do is you plug in your mic, which you want to be the loudest thing, of course. You sing your absolute loudest. And then on the channel section, you make that level so it's not going red, so it stays green. Then set up your guitar and other instruments a little bit below that, obviously, because you want the vocal to come out on top of those. And then there's two volumes, but use the master volume to push the overall level. You do not want to ever clip the channel inputs. And actually, now I think about it, it's the same as some other systems that I've covered on the channel as well. It's just a slightly different way of thinking if you're coming from a traditional PA system. So let's check out the footage from the gig. This is a member of the audience that was a fair way back, and they filmed this with their iPhone and kindly gave me permission to use it in this video. So thank you very much. Let's take a listen.
Words don't sound right. I hear them all moving inside you go. I'll be there when you call. And whenever I fall, at your feet.
So what did you think? Please let me know in the comments below. I was at this gig. I played the gig. I was very, very happy. I did use in-ear monitors, but I could hear myself fine from the speaker, even without them. And everyone said the volume was fine. So although I was reaching the maximum volume pretty much, I do think it's absolutely fine because this is a large outdoor area. And even when I've used other PA systems in the past, I've always kind of maxed them out anyway, because you're covering a huge amount of ground. When you play indoors, of course, the sound is bouncing off the walls and the ceiling. When you're outside, the sound just goes into nowhere. If you're playing huge venues and they want a ton of volume, which obviously this gig didn't want that. This is a gig where you can hear they're talking. I was background music, so it's absolutely perfect for that. If you do want to use these at a gig where you need to push serious volume and people want to be dancing and screaming and it's a huge room, maybe consider the 50M or two of these. But for the kind of gigs I do, I really think this would do absolutely anything. And I could always combine it with the eVerse 8 as well if I need to, as a kind of satellite extension speaker. So I can definitely see why these systems are so popular. If you use backing tracks, if you do karaoke's, if you use a kind of kick drum, if you have a bass player as your duo partner, this is just amazing because of that 10-inch sub. It gives you that low end that a traditional PA speaker just can't give you. And I also love the built-in Bluetooth because as soon as I took a break, I could play interval music. And again, if that's got a really loud bass part, that comes through really nicely through the subwoofer. I definitely like to check out the other systems in the range in the future for band gigs and things like that. And it's worth noting as well, a cool feature that I've been reading about is that with the larger systems, you can link two together with a digital cable and all of the inputs become one master mixer from the app. So that's really nice if you've got like an 8-piece band or something like that. That's pretty incredible. So again, I'd like to thank Sweetwater for sponsoring this video. And if you're new here and like this kind of content, please subscribe and ring the bell. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, hit the like button. And I'll see you next time. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.